Hi friends, welcome to Taming Python series. In this video, we're going to talk about working with Excel files and pandas data frames. You know, working with Excel files is one of the most common scenarios for data science practitioners and automation practitioners. So in this video, we're going to learn about some common Excel input-output scenarios and common Excel manipulating scenarios with pandas data frames. So let's get started. Okay, before getting started, I'm going to leave two links in my blog post. You can see it here and here, these two links. Using these two links, you can download two Excel files. One is a CSV file and one is a XLSX file. So these two files I'll be using as examples for demonstrating my demos in this video. Okay, now let's get started with our first example, which is reading an Excel file or a CSV file using the read CSV and read Excel method. You can see if you import pandas as a PD variable and if you call read CSV, you can get the CSV into data frame variable. And if you read the Excel file using the read Excel method, you can get the data frame into a variable. So let's get started with coding. I'm going to take a blank folder and I'm going to paste these two Excel files which I've mentioned, these two links I've given in this video, and then I'm going to open it with VS Code. Okay, now my VS Code is open. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and then I'm going to create a file and I'm going to name it as index.py. This is where I will demonstrate my examples. Okay, now first thing, we have to install pandas data frame. I've already made a video on how to install and use pandas data frame and introduction to pandas data frame. You can refer that if you don't know how to import pandas. But now I'm just going to go ahead and write import pandas as PD. So now my pandas libraries can be referred with PD variable. And now my objective is to read a pandas data frame from an Excel CSV, right? So I'll just write df CSV, this is my variable, equal to PD dot read CSV, and here I'm going to give the name of the Excel file or the path of the Excel file. So my Excel file is this one, Control C, and I'm going to paste this here. So you can see I've written the file name just like that. I didn't give the path because the file is in the same folder as my Python file. If your file is located somewhere else, you can give the absolute path also. That I'm going to demonstrate in a while. So now I've got the CSV file. So let me try to print this uh, variable, and even I'll also print the type of this variable so that you can know that it's a data frame. Okay, so now I've printed the type and I'm printing the variable itself. So let's try to run this. The main crux of this example is read CSV. You just reuse the read CSV method to read a CSV file into a data frame variable. Now I'm going to run this using this play button. Yeah, you can see the type is pandas data frame, pandas core frame data frame. That means it's a data frame variable. Df CSV is a data frame variable, and I'm printing this pandas data frame. You can see I've got the columns, I've got the rows. I will even show you the file how it looks like. I'm opening it in my file explorer and I'll open it with my Excel. You can see that I've got these columns, I've got this rows, and that's the same thing which you have got here, right? You can see I've got my columns, I've got my rows till 101 rows. I mean, the first one is by default taken as the header row, so I got 100 rows. In CSV you can see 101 rows, but while reading from CSV, the first row will be taken as header by default, and that's why I got 100 rows and one header. So this is how you can read CSV using the read CSV method. And then if I want to read Excel, I just write pd.read Excel, and here I have a file genschedules.xlsx, right? So I'll write xlsx, which is an Excel file, and I'll just rename it df excel. So now using the read Excel method, I have read an Excel file into a pandas data frame, and now I'm printing the type of it, and I'm printing the variable itself. So let me save it and run it. You can see I've got the data frame, pandas core frame data frame, and I got the same data. Actually, the Excel also has the same data. I'll just show you what's there in the Excel. We will in File Explorer. It's the same data. It's present in the Excel. So using pandas read excel method you can read the xlsx files. So that was about reading, basic reading using the read csv and read excel method. But now while using read excel method you might have multiple sheets in the excel. So if you want to read a particular sheet you just use the sheet name argument, which is the optional argument, and you can mention the sheet name here if you want to read a particular sheet name. So in my example, let me open my genschedules.xlsx file, and here you know I've got a sheet called gen underscore schedules. So let me copy this name. I'll just write here sheet underscore name equal to gen underscore schedules. So now I'm explicitly telling to my pandas library that will read this particular sheet data only. This will be relevant when you have multiple sheets in your pandas data frame and you want to extract the data from only one sheet. So this is a very important option, guys. So I'll just run it, and you can see I got the data, right? So to just disprove this, I'll just write sheet which is not present. So let me see this. I have only one sheet which was gen schedules. Now I am writing another name by intentionally to just show you that it won't get the data. If I run it, you can see it's telling worksheet does not exist because that sheet was not there. So this is how you can read the data from a particular sheet using the sheet name option. This is a very important option, guys. And then one more thing is header equal to none. When I've shown you when I've shown you the data frame variable, you can see by default the first row of the excel will be taken as header. This first row will be taken as header by default when you run the read csv or read excel method. But there might be scenarios that your data might not have header at all. Your data might be starting from this row itself. That means you don't want the first row to be a header. Then how can you tell that to pandas while reading an excel or csv? It's pretty simple, guys. You just write header equal to none. That means it will not consider the first row as a header. It will consider the first row as data itself, and header will be automatically populated as 0, 1, something like that. So let me try to run this. So in this example, I am reading pd.read excel and I am telling header equal to none. So let me try to run this. You can see there are 101 rows. That means same number of rows as the excel file. And here you can see my header is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, same thing, right? So that means the first row is also considered as the data instead of header. There might be some cases where you want this. So this option is also very important, guys. Header equal to none. And let's proceed to the next option, which is use columns. Okay, so this is also a very interesting and an important option. I'll just show you the scenario. This is my excel file, right? And in this excel file, how many columns do I get? I've got 41 columns, but I want to take only 10 columns. Okay, so how can I do that? Suppose I want to take only these columns. I'll just copy this, and here I'll just write use calls equal to, and I will give the array of header names. So yeah, this was my, obviously I have to separate them with commas. So what I'll do is I'll replace this string with this one. I'll replace So you can see I have only given only these columns that are to be populated. I don't want all the columns. So using the use calls option, I can specify which headers I want to read explicitly. That means I don't want all the headers. I want only headers with these names. So let me try to run this. I'll just show you how many columns will be there. Now you can see I have only 14 columns. You can see that I did not get all the 41 columns of this data frame of this Excel file. I got only the 14 columns that I have specified in this example. So use calls is also very important, guys. While reading Excel files, if you want only some columns to be read from the Excel file, you can use columns, use calls option. So this was another important option, guys. And yeah, use calls has instead of giving these header names, you can even specify the column indices. So suppose if you want to get only the column names are 0 index, right? So this is A is 0th column, B is first column, second column. So if you want to only B and C, that means a B, C, D. If I want only B, C, D, then I have to write 1, 2, 3. So let me try to go ahead and write 1, 2, 3 here. I'll just write 1, comma 2, comma 3. So I am going to take second, third, and fourth columns. These are zero indexed. I have written 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now I'll just run this. You can see I've got only these 3 columns which are specified here. That means you can give the column indices also. You don't need to give the column names. That means there may be some scenarios that you need to take only 5 columns. So that in that scenarios this can be useful. Okay. And one more way you can use columns is you can give the Excel ranges also. And here is a very excellent example that you want A and C columns, and you want all the columns from E to H. So you can give a variety of options, a lot of flexibility while mentioning this, column A, C, E to H. So the column A was time block, C was CGPL, and E to H was Gandhar, all those ones. So I got this Gandhar, time block, CGPL. So I was able to mention the Excel columns which I wanted in Excel ranges also. So this is also one pretty handy functions, and you can give ranges very easily. So this is also a useful options, use columns option, right? And one more thing which a lot of people require is skip rows option. So that means using the skip rows, you can say while reading the file, my file starts from 6th row. That means you have to give skip rows equal to 5. I'll just show you an example. Let's try to modify this and demonstrate that example for you. Here I'll take 3 columns. I'll insert some blank columns. Yeah. Now my data starts from the first 4th column. That means I have to skip 3 rows at the beginning. So I'll just save as, and here I'll just say I don't want to modify my original file, and write gen schedules underscore 1.xlsx. So here also I'll write underscore 1.xlsx, and here I'll give the options skip rows equal to 3. That means I am telling that skip the first 3 rows because my data actually starts from the 4th row. So let me try to run this. I'll run and show you that. Okay, my header started from the 4th row because I given skip rows equal to 3. Suppose if I don't give it like that, I may get an error, or I may get a data which I don't desire. You can see I got not a numbers and all blank rows which was not required, and my first column was all unnamed because it's all blank rows. So if I use the skip rows option, I've got my desired output. I've got the header from the 4th row, and I've got the data in my desired format. So skip rows is also a very useful function, guys. You might run into situations where you might need skip rows option. So skip rows skips the first, rows which you say from the beginning, and starts reading the data frame from that row. And one more option is skip rows at the bottom using the skip footer option. So what skip footer does is, in the same example, I'll just take the same example which I've used now, the main example, gen schedules.xlsx, and here I'm interested only till 97 rows. I don't want this 98. These are all the statistics. I want to ignore this data frame while reading these rows in the data frame while reading. That means I want to skip all these last how many rows were this, last 4 rows. So how can I do that? Here you can write skip footer equal to 4. See, skip the bottom 2 rows. And so if I want to skip the bottom 4 rows, if I want to skip the bottom 4 rows, then I will write here my gen schedules.xlsx skip footer equal to 4. That means I am ignoring the last 4 rows. So let me try to run this, and if I see, yeah, 96, 23, 45, 24, and it's here also 96, 23, 45, 24. That means I have successfully skipped these 2 rows at the beginning itself. You might slice your data frame after reading, but this is one handy function where you can specify which rows you require at the beginning itself, right? Skip rows and skip footer is useful, where at the reading itself you can ignore rows. That can save you a lot of code. Yeah, so skip footer and skip rows, guys. Now the next thing is end rows. End rows is also a very useful function. It might be useful in some scenarios where you want to read only some number of rows in your data frame. So here in my example, it was n rows equal to 50. So n rows equal to 50 means I want to read only 50 rows. So in our example, just let's write n rows equal to 10. I mean You can even write n rows equal to 5 for demonstration purposes. I'll let n rows equal to 5. That means I'll only take first 5 rows. So if I run this, yeah, you can see I've got 5 rows only and 41 columns. So that means in that huge data frame, I'm only taking 5 rows. So you, in some scenarios, you might be having this requirement. So n rows equal to is also a very good option while reading Excel or CSVs using a pandas data frame importing. And one more thing, now we talked all about importing from an Excel, and after that, after all your analysis, you might want to publish your results into an Excel file locally. So how can you do that? It's really simple. You just need to use two Excel and two CSV function. That's it, guys. So let's take an example here. I'm just going to copy this example and paste it here. So this example is really simple. I'm taking import pandas as PD, and I'm taking a list of objects, and I'll create a data frame out of it. Df equal to PD dot data frame of X. So each item in this list will become a row, and the headers will be name, age, and sex. I'll just show you the output also. Before exporting it to CSV, let's see how the data frame actually looks like. So df, I'm printing the df after creating the data frame. And if you want to know how to initialize data frame from a list of objects, I have created a video before this video, so you can even refer that video if you want to know how it is done. But for now, I'm just initializing data frame using a list of objects, and each attribute of this object will be the column header of the created data frame. I'll just show you. I have created a data frame from X, which is a list of objects, and I'm printing it to show you how it looks like. So you can see data. This is a data frame where name, age, and sex are the columns, and 0, 1, 2 are the indices, and the data is, you can see, Harry is 22 male, William Henry 35 male. The same thing has been printed. So I have converted a list of objects into a data frame now for this demonstration purpose. And now what I'll do is I will save this data frame as an Excel file. So that's very simple. Df dot to underscore Excel, and here I'll just write out underscore Excel dot XLSX. You can write any name. I am just writing out Excel dot XLSX. So I'll just run this now. Yeah, my program is executed. So here in this folder, I can see out Excel dot XLSX. So let me try to open that. Oh, you can see I've got the Excel printed with index and the columns also. But I maybe in my use case I don't want the index to be printed. I'm just happy with this. So how can I do that? There is an option called index equal to false. If you just write index equal to, I think I have to write none. That means I don't want an index here. Index equal to none. If I write index equal to none, my Excel will not have the index in the output. So let me try to run this. Yeah, I got the output. So I'll just open the output. Yeah, here you can see my index is not printed. In most of the cases, people like their index not to be printed. So this is the option, index equal to none. And suppose if you have a doubt like which options to use and how to use this function, it's really simple, guys. You just do a Google search. You just go to Google, and here write pandas data frame to Excel. Just write this pandas data frame to Excel, and you'll get the documentation of that. And here, after opening the documentation, you can see a lot of options, and here you can see the option which I just told you, index, boolean default true. So okay, you can even write index can be false also. That means I can even write index equal to false. So even if I write index equal to false, my Excel will not have the index row names or the index in the output. And you can even write header equal to false. That means if I write header equal to false and I write index equal to false, my output will not contain both the header and index. So let me try to run this and show you how it looks like. Here you can see I've got just the data. I didn't have the header and index printed because I have set both of them to be false here. And there are a lot of other options. You can even print it to a sheet name also. By default it's sheet 1. So if I want to print it to a particular sheet, I'll just write sheet name equal to, and here I'll write output. So that's what the sheet name I want to print it to. I want to print it to a sheet name called output. So let me try to run this and see how it goes. Yeah, my Excel is here. Here I got the sheet name as output as expected. So this is one more option which you might want to use when you're exporting to an Excel file. So there are many options which you can you know uh, refer from this documentation. So always be sure to check documentation once for all the options. But for now I've given all the important options. And one more thing I just forgot is you can even write to CSV. So it's really simple. You just write df dot to CSV if you want to print it, export it to a CSV. So I'll just write df dot to CSV of I have to give the Excel file name. I'll just write out.csv. So I want to print it to a file called out.csv. So I'll just run it. My Excel file, my Python is executed, and you can see I got the file out.csv here. I'll just open it now. As expected, you got the output in the Excel file, which is a CSV. So using the toCSV function, you can send your output to a CSV file. And the same options which I told you, the use columns, and the header equal to none, index equal to none, all are applicable to this function also, just like to Excel function. And one more thing I just want to emphasize here is I can even write it to not only this data location, I can even write to multiple locations outside this folder. So I'll just write this, and I'll use the raw string because I've got black slashes in my string. So I want to export it now to an absolute location, not the same folder location. So I'm writing the whole path here, and let me see whether it runs. If I click this, you can see I got my data exported to absolute location. That means it is not the same location as the folder. So it's really simple, guys. If you want to export your file to an absolute location, you just use the absolute path here. If you want to output it to a same folder, you just write the file name, that's all, and it will be exported to the same folder as the Python file. And it's the same thing is applicable while reading also. While reading Excel files, suppose let me take this example. Suppose I am reading this Excel file from this genschedules.xlsx, but if I want to read this Excel file from not the same location as the code, I want to read this file from this absolute path, you have to do the same thing. Write the absolute path. Suppose this was what the Excel I want to read, the same Excel which I have exported now. Suppose if you want to read Excel from a path which is not the same as the Python file, you just have to write the absolute path here. So let me try to run this and see how it goes. Okay, file is not recognized. Yeah, it was in CSV file, right? So I'll just write read CSV. So I'll run again. You can see I got my data imported from the path which is not the same as the index.py path. It was another path, right? So you can give absolute locations to read the CSVs and Excel files also. So yeah, that was another important point, guys. And so that's it. In this post, the main summary is that we have covered a lot of options while exporting and importing data frames to Excel files. So you can see I've got a blog post demonstrating the options and examples. So be sure to check out the link of this blog post in the description of this video. You can copy paste the sample codes and you can take the files and practice it for yourself. That's it, guys. Hope you like this video. Thank you for watching.